I, Lance Corporal Harold W. Dawson, have been informed by Special Agent R.C. McGuire, the Naval Investigative Service, that I am suspected of murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and conduct unbecoming a United States Marine in the matter of Private First Class William T. Santiago. I have also been advised that I have the right to remain silent and make no statement at all.
Any statement I make can be used against me in a trial by court-martial or other judicial proceedings. I have the right to consult with an attorney prior to further questioning.
I am presently assigned to Rifle Security Company Windward, 2nd Platoon Delta, Nav Base, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
I'm a private first class in the United States Marine Corps, assigned to Marine Security Rifle Company Windward, 2nd Platoon Delta. I will have been in the Marine Corps 10 months as of August.
I entered Private Santiago's barracks room on the evening of 6 July, at or about 2350. I was accompanied by BFC Lawton Downey.
I was accompanied by my squad leader, Lance Corporal Harold W. Dawson, United States Marine Corps.
We tied his hands and feet with rope.
We tied Private Santiago's hands and feet with rope and forced a piece of cloth into his mouth.
We placed duct tape over his eyes and mouth.
I have read this 2-page statement provided to me by Special Agent McGuire upon my request after speaking of its content. I have been authorized to make all changes and corrections, initializing those changes and corrections.
These statements are true and factual, to the best of my knowledge.
Dick, I'm late. You know what I just saw.
No, but I am genuinely late.
There is a lady lawyer from Internal Affairs wandering around the hallway.
What's she doing?
I don't know.
Is she stealing things?
No.
Tell me why I care.
Ordinarily, when Internal Affairs sends a lawyer to talk to the lawyers, it means somebody screwed up.
You think it's you?
No.
Have you done anything wrong?
No.
You sure?
Yes, I'm sure. I think so. I don't know. I have been very tired lately. Hey, do me a favor, would you, if she talks to you, if she says anything about Dematis?
Who?
Dematis, the engineer. Remember my guy who was caught littering in the Admiral's tulip garden? I might have cut a few corners on that. Would you cover for me?
Sure.
Yeah?
I don't know what you're talking about, but sure. No problem.
Dematis, he's an engineer.
Littering in the Admiral's turnip garden.
Tulips.
Okay.
Hey, where are you going?
I am representing an ensign who bought and smoked $10 worth of oregano.
You thought it was weed?
I can only hope.
You're not concerned.
What are they going to charge him with? Possession of a condiment? You're going to see this meeting for 15 days restricted duty.
I'm talking about the lady from Internal Affairs. You're not concerned.
My softball team is playing Bethesda Medical tomorrow. I can't be concerned with anything right now. See you at lunch.
I'm Lieutenant Commander Joe M. Galloway, sir.
Come on in.
I appreciate your seeing me on such short notice.
Yeah, Bronsky said you were reopening a case.
Yes, sir.
Bronsky and I go way back.
He speaks very highly of you, sir.
Yeah, that's bullshit, right?
Yes, sir.
I know you, don't I?
I don't believe we've formally met.
You work in Internal Affairs.
Yes, sir.
I hate Internal Affairs.
Yes, sir.
And you're a woman.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's all right.
Thank you, sir.
You were the one who recycled those 14 B misdemeanors last winter.
That might have been me.
14 B misdemeanors, drunkenness ordinance. We had them closed.
No, sir, you didn't. The blue copies of the charge sheets weren't filed to division with the IC1.
Who gives a shit?
My boss, the Judge Advocate General.
He doesn't care any more than I do. It was you.
There are rules, sir. I'm sure you understand.
You had my men working Christmas Eve, filling out charge sheets in longhand. Then, or Christmas Eve.
It was in the interest of justice, sir.
Okay. Are you here to bother anybody?
No, sir. Absolutely not. Not at all. Only if necessary.
What did I do for you?
2 men are being held at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. They pleaded guilty to murder 2, conspiracy to commit, and conduct unbecoming. Over the weekend, I petitioned Captain Bronsky to deny the guilty pleas and to order the men to be assigned to Washington to be assigned to counsel.
And what was the problem with the guilty pleas? Somebody misspelled conspiracy?
No, sir. But they pleaded guilty to murder at 3 o'clock in the morning after a 20-minute interview at which neither had an attorney.
So Bronsky's bringing them up to Washington.
You'll be receiving a memo from Division instructing you to assign an attorney from your department. Which brings me to why I'm here.
Yes.
I'd like a favor.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
What's the favor?
Tell Division you want to assign a lawyer outside of your department.
Why?
Because I'm a lawyer outside of your department.
And don't think I'm not great.
I brought a letter of recommendation from Captain Bronson.
You're an investigator. Why do you want to get mixed up in something?
I don't consider it grunt work, sir.
It's a 5-minute plea bargain and a week's paperwork.
I look forward to it with relish, sir.
Can I ask, do you always talk as though whoever's writing your dialogue is very good at it?
I'm sorry if my over-eagerness is grating.
It's not. It's endearing. You could have a career as a cartoon squirrel.
I want to make sure this is handled properly.
Have you ever done litigation?
My first year at the JAG Court.
How many cases did you handle?
Altogether,
Yes.
6.
And how'd you do?
From what perspective?
Your clients.
Not well.
Excuse me, Isaac. This just came from you. It's from division.
Those cases were lost on their merits, sir.
This is Lieutenant Commander Joanne Galloway.
Really?
How do you do?
I really enjoyed last Christmas.
Well, we don't.
So, what do you say?
Commander, may I call you Joanne?
Yes, please.
Joanne, you seem like a fairly harmless, neurotic person.
I appreciate that, sir.
And I'd like to help you out, but there are 2 things preventing you. The first is that while I sincerely believe that in your present assignment as Internal Affairs you do a remarkably thorough job, I have a hunch that as a litigator, you know not so much.
Well,
The
but
second is that division has already chosen an attorney.
What?
They've already assigned someone. I don't know why they care, but it's out of my hands now. They do want you to brief them, and apparently you have some letters and documents.
Yes.
We have a staff meeting at 3. Come by, do your thing. I'll be handing out assignments then. Try not to make anyone cry.
Yes, sir.
Tough break.
Thank you, Captain.
You can call me Isaac.
And what's the name of the attorney?
Officer on deck, Ted Hutt!
Daniel Cabot.
They're giving you a lawyer. They're going to move you up to Washington, D.C., and they're giving you a lawyer who's going to ask you some questions. I want you to remember something about these lawyers. They don't care about anything. They don't care about honor or loyalty. They don't care about Colonel Jessup or Lieutenant Kendrick. They don't care about me, and they don't care about you. They're clowns. That is why, so help me God, they're the only ones who can save you right now. I want you boys to be smart. Talk to your lawyer.
If I were you, I'd take the OTH. It's his 4th UA. You're not going to do any better than that.
I don't think I need to settle for the OTH. If I file a motion to suppress...
A motion to suppress?
Absolutely.
On what grounds?
Grounds?
You see, this is where your strategy begins to fall apart.
Take the OTH.
Excuse me, I'm sorry I'm late.
I'm sure you have a good reason.
No, I just didn't really care enough about this meeting to be on time.
He's kidding. Commander Galloway, this is Lieutenant Caffey.
How do you do?
You're a JG?
I beg your pardon?
This is the lawyer division assigned?
Yes.
I wrote a 17-page memo to Bronsky outlining the situation. I pleaded my case for a half an hour on a Sunday in his living room, and division assigned a lieutenant junior grade?
Have I come at a bad time?
Commander Galloway's with Internal Affairs.
Oh. Whatever Sam did with the guy in the tulip garden wasn't his fault. He was tired. Of that. Thanks a lot. Sam here has a baby at home, and he is sure she is about to say her first word any day now.
How do you know?
She just looks like she has something to say.
She's 14 months old. What could she possibly have to say?
We have a pool going on if you want to get in on it. $10, pick any word off the grid.
What's left?
Rosebud.
With all due respect,
All right, let's get this thing started. Danny, Commander Galloway's here because you have been detailed by division.
Ooh. Detailed to do what?
Detailed to handle this. All right, everybody, listen up. Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. A Marine, PFC, named William Santiago writes a letter claiming he knows the name of a man who fired another Marine on the base who illegally fired a round from his weapon over the fence line. Santiago ends his letter stating that he wants to transfer off that base in exchange for the identity of that Marine.
What's a fence line?
Sam?
Big wall, separating the good guys from the bad guys.
Okay.
The man who fired over the wall was Santiago's squad leader, Lance Corporal Harold Dawson. But the fence line shooting has nothing to do with anything. It's completely beside the point.
What is the point?
Santiago's dead.
What happened?
Dawson and another member of the squad, PFC Lawden Downey, snuck into Santiago's room, tied his hands and feet, and stuffed a rag into his mouth. The doctor said the rag must have been treated with some type of toxin.
Poison the rag?
Not according to them.
What do they say?
Not much. They're being brought up here tomorrow morning. Thursday at 0600, you will catch a transport down to Cuba for the day to find out what you can. Commander Galloway will fill you in on the rest. Any questions so far?
Was that 0600 in the morning, sir?
Division wants me to assign backup. Any volunteers?
No.
Sam?
Sir, I have a pile of work on my desk.
Work with Kathy on this.
Doing what?
Various administrative, things. Backup. Whatever.
In other words, I have no responsibilities whatsoever.
Right.
My kind of case.
Lieutenant Kathy, how long have you been in the Navy?
Excuse me?
How long have you been in the Navy?
Going on 9 months now.
And have you ever been inside of a courtroom?
I once had my driver's license suspended.
All right, Captain, this is absurd.
Commander, if this thing ever does go inside the courtroom, those Marines aren't going to need a lawyer. They're going to need a priest.
No, they'll need a lawyer.
Isaac, I'd like to go on the record and say this is the least fun I've ever had at one of your staff meetings.
Commander, Lieutenant Cappy is generally considered one of the best litigators in our office. He's successfully plea bargained 44 cases in less than a year.
One more and I get a set of steak knives.
One of the people you'll be talking to down there is the barracks CO, Colonel Nathan Jessup. I assume you've heard of him?
Sam?
He's been in the papers lately. He's expected to be appointed Director of Operations. Golden Boy of the Corps, very big inside the DOD.
How does someone get very big inside the DOD? Is he touring? Did he cut an album?
On top is an inventory of Santiago's footlocker from the night he died. 4 pairs of camouflage pants, 3 long-sleeve khaki shirts, 3 short-sleeve khaki shirts, 3 pairs of boots, 4 pairs of green socks, 4 pairs of black
Commander?
socks. Yes?
I'm not too sure socks and underwear are going to figure too heavily into this defense.
I'm saying we'll need to get his personal belongings to his family after they've cleared evidence.
Sam, you are in charge of socks and underwear.
Well, good thing I went to school for 21 years.
These are the letters that Santiago wrote during his 8 months at Jessup.
Guantanamo Bay.
I knew that one.
He wrote to his recruiter, HQ Atlantic, the Commandant of the Marine Corps, even his senator. He wanted transferred off the base, but nobody was listening. You with me?
Yeah.
Finally, he wrote this letter, in which he offered information about Corporal Dawson's fence line shooting in exchange for a transfer. This is the only physical evidence establishing a motive for Dawson to kill Santiago.
Gotcha. And Santiago is who?
The victim.
Write that down. Am I correct in assuming that these letters don't paint a flattering picture of Santiago's treatment by the Marine Corps?
Yes, among
And am I also right in assuming that a protracted investigation into the incident might cause some embarrassment for Sinatra?
Who?
The base commander, the guy who's hot at the Pentagon?
Colonel Jessup? Yes, but the point
12 years.
I'm sorry?
I'll get it knocked down to involuntary manslaughter. 12 years. They'll probably be home in 7.
You haven't spoken to a witness or looked at a piece of paper.
Pretty impressive.
Either that or criminally stupid. Which do you guess I'm thinking it is right now?
Kids?
Excuse me, sir. Ma'am, do you have some sort of jurisdiction here I should know about?
I am special counsel for internal affairs, Lieutenant. My jurisdiction's pretty much in your face. Read the letter. Thank you for your time, Captain.
But you're not leaving us already, are you?
Yes, I need to audit the paperwork of an engineer that was found littering in the Admiral's tulip garden. Someone may have forgotten to dot a few I's.
Hey, Sam, I think she was talking about you.
Oh, you think?
All right, now don't you two go getting cute down there. Those Marines in Guantanamo are fanatical.
About what?
Dear sir,
About being Marines.
my name is PFC William T. Santiago. I'm a Marine stationed at Marine Barracks, Windward, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. I'm writing to inform you of my problems and to ask for your help. I've been mistreated since the very first day I arrived. I've been punished for passing out on runs when the doctor says I just have heat exhaustion. This is just one incident of mistreatment, and I could say many more, but I do not want to take more of your time than I'm allowed to. But I've written many letters. I've gotten no response back, so I must try something else. I know of an illegal fence line shooting that took place 4 nights ago. A member of my unit illegally discharged his weapon into Cuban territory. I'll give his name in exchange for a transfer. I just ask you to help me. Please, sir. I just need to be transferred out of RSC.
Excuse me, sir. Captain Markinson and Lieutenant Kendrick to see you.
Thank you, John.
Good morning, Colonel.
Matthew, John, have a seat.
Thank you.
1,000 hours already hot enough to melt the brass off your collar. I just had a Navy guy in here telling me we're lucky. After all, it's dry heat. Dry heat. It's 107 degrees outside. How am I supposed to feel about that? Matthew, you've been here the longest. Is this about as hot as it gets, or am I actually trapped in hell?
It's about as hot as it's been since maybe 84, Colonel.
84 was pretty bad.
Got up to 119 degrees.
Papering half in smoke, half in fire. Moby Dick. John, when I quote Melville, you don't have to nod your head up and down like you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to regard you as less of a man because you're not well read.
Thank you, sir.
I mean that, John.
I appreciate that, sir.
119 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes, sir.
You must have had Marines passing out right and left.
No, the men were all right.
Nobody passed out.
Not that I recall.
Nobody got dizzy or hyperventilated. No heat exhaustion.
No, sir.
Impressive.
Yes, sir.
You know why those Marines didn't pass out back in 84, Jonathan? Even though it was 119 degrees Fahrenheit by Captain Markinson's reckoning. You know why they stayed on the job?
Why, sir?
Because that's what they're fucking trained to do.
Yes, sir.
Who the fuck is PFC William T. Santiago?
Officer on deck, 10, fight!
Good morning. I'm Lieutenant Commander Galloway.
Ma'am, Lance Corporal Harold W. Johnson, ma'am. Marine Barracks, Rifle Security Company, Windward.
Ma'am, Private First Class, Lawton down, ma'am.
Stand easy. I work for the Navy JAG Corps. I'm the one who had you brought up here. I wanted to stop in to see if there was anything you needed, or any questions you wanted to ask. It's natural to feel a little confused or frightened, so anything I can help you with, any questions you may have.
Ma'am, permission to speak?
Go ahead.
I have some Spider-Mans and some Batmans in my footlocker, ma'am. Somebody will dog them for sure if they're not secured, ma'am.
You think this is a joke?
Ma'am, no, ma'am.
What about you? Do you think this is a joke?
No, ma'am, it's not a joke, ma'am.
Apologies, Commander, ma'am. I didn't mean nothing about the comic books, ma'am. Didn't mean nothing by them.
You read your Article 31 rights. Did you understand them?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand them?
Yes, ma'am.
Say you understand them.
Ma'am, I understand them, ma'am.
Can I get an MP? I'm going to have a talk with Private Downey alone for a moment. Would you take Corporal Dawson into holding?
All right, Commander. All right, let's go. Hey, asshole! I said move it!
Ma'am, permission to be dismissed.
You're dismissed. closest living relative is Ginny Miller, your aunt on your mother's side. Is that right? Ginny Miller?
Yes, ma'am.
She hasn't been contacted yet. Would you like me to take care of that for you? I'll take care of that for you. Private, do you know why you're here?
Ma'am, this is where the guard told me to stand, ma'am.
Loudon. May I call you Loudon?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know where you are? Do you know why you've been arrested?
Willie died, ma'am.
Why? Was it an accident or did you mean to do it? Loudon, I know about Correct.
I don't need those comic books, ma'am. You can have them if you'd like.
Loudon, you've got to talk to somebody. They're going to try to pin you with intent. They're going to say that this was retaliation for Santiago snitching on Dawson in regard to the fence line shooting, which it wasn't, was it?
Ma'am, permission to speak?
Sure.
Are you our lawyer, ma'am?
No. I'm a lawyer, but I'm not allowed to represent me.
Captain Markinson told us to speak to our lawyer, ma'am. That's what he told us to do.
All right, man on first, one down. Let's go for two. Hit a few out to Sherby. Get your glove down, Sherby. You gotta get your glove down. Come on, pick up some dirt with that ball. Let's do it again. Man on first, one down.
Excuse me.
1 second. You gotta trust me, Sherby. If you keep your eyes open while the ball's coming towards you, your chances of catching the ball increase by a factor of 10. You want to suit up? We need all the help we can get.
No thanks, I can't throw and catch things.
It's too bad neither can any of these guys.
I wanted to talk to you about Dawson and Downey.
Done something wrong, haven't I?
I'm wondering why two guys have been in their cells since this morning while their lawyer is outside hitting a ball.
We need to practice.
That wasn't funny.
It's a little funny.
Lieutenant, would you feel extremely insulted if I asked your supervisor to recommend that different counsel be assigned?
Why?
I don't know how to say this without possibly hurting your feelings, but I don't think you're fit to handle the defense.
You don't even know me. Ordinarily, it takes someone hours to discover I'm not fit to handle a defense. I think there are people who would have thought that was funny.
I do know you, and I know who your father was. And I know that you attended Harvard Law on a Navy scholarship, and that you're probably just treading water for the 3 years you've gone to serve. Just laying low until you can get out and get a real job. And if that's the case, that's fine. I won't tell anybody. But my thought is that if this case is handled in the same fast food, slick-ass Persian bazaar manner with which you seem to handle everything else, something is going to be missed. And I wouldn't be doing my job if I allowed Dawson and Downey to spend any more time in jail than absolutely necessary, because their lawyer had predetermined the path of least resistance.
I may be picking the wrong time to ask you this, but are you seeing anyone right now? Because I think you and I would be perfect together. I mean, it is clear you respect me, and that is the foundation.
Shut up! I don't think your client's murdered anyone.
We're going to have to take their word for it, don't you think?
I mean, I don't think there was any intent.
Well, the doctor's report says Santiago died of asphyxiation brought on by acute lactic acidosis, and the nature of that acidosis strongly suggests poisoning. Now, I don't know what most of that means, but it sounds pretty bad.
The doctor's wrong.
What a relief. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to use the liar, liar, pants on fire defense.
Happy?
Rest assured, I am completely on top of the situation with Dawson and Donnelly.
Downey.
Downey.
I'll speak to your supervisor.
I understand. You go straight up Pennsylvania Avenue. It's the big white house with the pillars in front of it.
Thank you.
I don't think you'll have much luck, though. I was detailed by division, remember? Somebody over there is under the impression that I'm a pretty good lawyer. So while I appreciate your interest and admire your enthusiasm, I think I can handle things myself at this point.
Do you know what a code red is?
I'm appalled, sir.
No, I don't.
Find out.
Your appalled.
Yes, sir.
That's some pretty strong language, Matthew. I mean, maybe you better cool off before you work yourself into a lather. You're appalled. Santiago has written letters to everyone but Santa Claus complaining about his treatment. He's broken the chain of command. He's threatened to rat out a member of his unit, a member of his own squad, for Christ's sake, to say nothing of the fact that he's a U.S. Marine, and it appears that he can't run from here to there without collapsing from heat exhaustion. What the hell is going on over at Windward, Matthew?
Colonel, I think it might be more appropriate if this discussion were continued in private.
That won't be necessary, Colonel. I can handle the problem.
The way you handled Curtis Barnes, you're making a mistake.
My methods of leadership are what brought me to this base.
Don't interrupt me. I'm still your superior officer.
And I'm yours, Matthew. Now, what are we going to do about this?
I think we got to transfer Santiago, sir. Right away. Now.
Transfer Santiago.
Yes, sir.
I suppose you're right. I suppose that's the thing to do. Wait, I've got a better idea. Let's transfer the whole squad off the base. We better do that. Let's, on second thought, Windward! The whole Windward division, transfer them off the base. John, go on out there and get those boys down off the fence. They're packing their bags. Tom! Sir, get me the president. We're surrendering our position.
Yes, sir.
Wait a minute, Tom. Don't call him president. Maybe that's the wrong thing to do. Maybe you should let us consider this for a moment. You're dismissed. Maybe, instead of giving up because a Marine made a mistake, maybe we should train Santiago. What do you think? I'm just spitballing, but maybe we as officers have a responsibility to this country to see that the men and women charged with its security are properly trained professionals. And maybe we have that responsibility to the other members of the Corps. Yes, I'm certain I once read something like that. See, and now I'm trying to think of how I might feel if a Marine got hurt or killed because a PFC in my command didn't know what the fuck he was doing. And this brief meditation has brought me around to the thinking that your suggestion of transferring Private Santiago, while expeditious and certainly painless, may not be, in a manner of speaking, the American way. Santiago stays where he is. We're going to train the lad. John, you're in charge. Santiago doesn't make 4646 on his next ProCon report. I'm going to blame you. And then I'm going to kill you.
You're making a mistake, Colonel.
Matthew, I believe I will have that word in private with you now. John, that's all. Why don't you and I have lunch at the Oak Club? We can talk about how to train the private.
I'd be delighted, sir.
You're dismissed. Matthew, sit, please. What do you think of Kendrick?
Nathan, this isn't personal. My opinion of John Kendrick is...
I think he's kind of a weasel myself.
Yes, sir.
But he's an awfully good officer. And in the end, we see eye to eye on the best way to run a Marine Corps unit. We're in the business of saving lives, Matthew. With every degree we allow ourselves to fall off the mark of perfection, more people die. And I believe that taking a Marine who's a weakling and packing him off to another assignment without giving him the proper training is the same as sending a kid into the jungle with a weapon that backfires. Matthew, sit down. I am younger than you are, Matthew, and if that's a source of tension or embarrassment for you, well, I don't give a shit. We're in the business of saving lives, Captain Markinson. Don't ever question my orders in front of another officer.
Officer on deck, Ted Hunt!
Hi.
Sir, Lance Corporal Harold W. Johnson, sir!
But he hasn't been working and playing well with others, Harold.
Sir, Private First Class Lawton Downey, sir!
Daniel Cappy, I'm your attorney. This is Sam Weinberg. He's from the A.C. Nielsen Media Research. He's here to talk to you about your preferences in the Caribbean Command. You can have a seat. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
Don't have to call me sir. Is this your signature?
Sir, yes, sir.
Certainly don't have to do it twice in one sentence. What's the code red?
Sir?
Really? You don't have to call me sir. What is a code red?
Sir, code red is a disciplinary engagement.
What's that?
Sir, a Marine falls out of line. It's the responsibility of the men in his unit to get him back on track.
You know about this?
It's like a hazing.
What's a garden variety code red?
Sir?
Harold, you say sir, I turn around and look for my father. Garden variety typical. What is a basic code red?
Sir, a Marine has refused to bathe on a regular basis. The men in his squad would give him a GI shower.
What's that?
Scrub brushes, Brillo pads, steel wool.
Beautiful.
Was the attack on Santiago a code red?
Yes, sir.
Does he ever talk?
Sir, Private Downey will answer any direct questions you ask him, sir.
Swell. The report says you denied putting poison on the rat. What were you going to do?
Sir?
What was the code red supposed to be?
We're just gonna shave his head, sir. We're just gonna shave his head.
When all of a sudden...
Saw blood dripping from his mouth. So we pulled the tape off his face and pulled the gag out, sir.
Was there more blood?
All down his face, sir. And Corporal Dawson called the ambulance.
Call the ambulance?
Yes, sir.
That wasn't in the report.
We were never asked about it, sir.
Did anyone see you call the ambulance?
No, sir.
Were you there when the ambulance got there?
Yes, sir. That's when we were taken under arrest.
I want to talk to you guys about something called attorney-client privilege. It means you can say anything you want to us in here, and we're not allowed to repeat it without your permission. It's against the law. You took an oath. You took the oath, right, Sam?
Yeah.
Sam took the oath. Harold, did you attack Santiago with the intent of killing him?
No, sir.
What was your intent?
To train him, sir.
Train him to do what?
Train him to think of his unit before himself. Train him to respect the code.
What's the code?
Who cares?
So, what's the code?
Unit, corps, God, country.
I beg your pardon?
Our code is unit, corps, God, country. That's our code, sir.
Well, seems to be working out pretty well for you.
We'll be right back. Is there anything else we can do for you guys? Books, paper, cigarettes, ham sandwich?
Sir, no thank you, sir.
Harold, there's a concept I think you should start warming up to.
Sir?
I'm the only friend you've got.
Dan Cappy.
Smiling Jan Ross.
I hope for Dawson and Downey's sake you practice law better than you play softball.
Fortunately for Dawson and Downey, I don't do anything better than I play softball. What are we looking at?
They plead to manslaughter, I'll drop the bad conduct and the conspiracy, 20 years. They'll be home in half that time.
I want 12.
Can't do it.
They called the ambulance, Jan.
I don't care if they called the Avon lady. They killed a Marine.
The rag was tested for poison. The lab report, autopsy report, even the initial ER COD reports all say the same thing. Maybe, maybe not.
The chief of internal medicine at the Guantanamo Bay Naval Hospital says he's sure.
What do you know about code reds?
Oh shit. Are we off the record?
No, we are not.
I'll give you the 12 years, but before you go getting yourself into trouble down there, you should know this. The platoon commander, Lieutenant Jonathan Kendrick, had a meeting with the men and specifically told them not to touch Santiago.
See you when I get back.
Do we have a deal?
Talk to me when I get back. Come in.
Thank you.
Any luck getting me replaced?
Is there anyone in this command that you don't either drink or play softball with?
Say, Commander.
You can call me Joe.
Joe, I don't have any inbred hostility towards you, I really don't. But if you ever speak to one of my clients again without my permission, I'll have you disbarred.
I had authorization.
You got authorization from where?
Downey's closest living relative, Ginny Miller, his aunt on his mother's side.
You got authorization from Aunt Ginny?
I gave her a call. I thought she might be concerned. Perfectly within my province.
You got authorization from Aunt Ginny?
A very nice woman. We talked for about an hour.
Does Aunt Ginny have a barn? Can we have the trial there? I'll sew the costumes. Maybe we can get his Uncle Goober to be the judge.
More good news. My office has been encouraging me to get outside the district more to observe how our lawyers are working in the field. Guess where I'm going?
Target range?
I'm going down to Cuba with you tomorrow.
Hits just keep on coming.
She's asleep now, but when Laura gets home, you're my witness. The baby spoke. My daughter said a word.
She made a sound. I'm not too sure it was a word.
Oh, come on. It was a word.
Hey.
You heard her. She sat right here, pointed, and said, "Pa." She did. She said, "Pa."
She was pointing at a doorknob.
Yeah, pointing as if to say, "Pa, look, a doorknob."
Jan Ross came to see me today. She offered me the 12 years.
Hey, that's what you wanted.
Yeah, and I guess, I'll take it.
So?
It only took about 45 seconds. She barely even put up a fight.
Danny, take the 12 years. It's a gift.
You don't believe their story, do you? You think they should go to jail for the rest of their lives.
I believe every word they said. And I think they should go to jail for the rest of their lives.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Don't forget to wear your whites. It gets hot down there.
I don't look good in the whites.
Nobody looks good in whites, but we're going to Cuba in July. Did you pack Dramamine?
Dramamine keeps you cool?
You get sick when you fly.
I get sick when I fly because I'm afraid of crashing into a large mountain. I don't think Dramamine will help.
I got some oregano. I hear that works pretty good.
Yeah. You know, Ross said the strangest thing to me just before I left. She said the platoon commander, Lieutenant Jonathan Kendrick, had a meeting with the men and specifically told them not to touch Santiago.
So?
I never mentioned Kendrick. I don't know who he is. What the hell? See you tomorrow.
Squad leaders, front and center, report!
Sir, Corporal Dunn, Alpha Squad present, sir!
Corporal Hammaker, Bravo's present. Sir, Corporal Howard, Charlie's present.
Sir, Lance Corporal Dawson, Delta's present, less 2.
Private Santiago has been excused from this meeting. Where is Private Downey?
Downey radioed into the switch, sir. His jeep blew out. He and Pickup are making it back by foot.
Pass on my words to Private Downey. Anything I say to the squad leaders at this meeting is to be a direct order to the members of your squad. Is that clear?
Sir, yes, sir!
Revelations 2. I know thy works and thy labor, and how thou canst not bear them which are evil. And thou hast tried them which say they are apostles, but have found them to be liars. If you are a PFC and you have a problem, who do you report that problem to?
Sir, your corporal, sir!
If you're a corporal and you have a problem, who do you report that problem to?
Sir, your sergeant, sir!
Private Santiago of Delta Squad has laid waste our priorities and made wretched our code. Priorities!
Unit, Corps, God, country!
Code!
Unit, Corps, God, country!
What are we here to fight for?
Unit, Corps, God, country!
What are we here to fight for?
Unit, Corps, God, country!
Do you need someone from outside of this unit to show you how to be good?
Sir, no, sir!
Do you need someone from outside of this unit to show you how to be right?
Sir, no, sir!
Corporal Dunn.
Sir!
You think you and the boys of Alpha Squad can show Santiago how to be right?
Sir, yes, sir!
Anybody from Alpha touches him, and you will answer to me. Is that clear?
Sir?
Is it clear?
Sir, yes, sir!
Alpha dismissed. Corporal Hammond.
Sir!
How about my brave men of Bravo? I bet I turn Santiago over to you, and he'll be Marine by sunrise, am I right? Sir, yes, sir! Anybody from Grago goes near him, and you will all be filling sandbags till you beg for mercy. Dismissed. Corporal Howard. Sir! Now, I got two things to say to you, Corporal. The first is that I believe in my heart that you and the men of the Charlie Squad are outstanding Marines, and that your influence over the private would be invaluable. The second is that the government of the United States maintains a military installation in the Arctic Circle, and you and the men of Charlie Squad will find yourself scraping icicles off of igloos in a heartbeat if you so much as look funny at that private. Do I make myself clear? Yes, sir! No code red! Is that clear? Sir, yes, sir! No code red! Is that clear? Sir, yes, sir! No code red! Is that clear? Sir, yes, sir! Dismissed. Lance Corporal Dawson.
Sir!
Lieutenants Weinberg and County?
Yeah? I'm Commander Galloway.
Corporal Howard, ma'am. I'm to escort you to the windward side of the base.
Thank you.
I've got some camouflage jackets, sirs. I have to ask you both to put them on.
Camouflage jackets?
Yes, sir. Regulations. We'll be riding pretty close to the fence. Cubans see an officer wearing white, they're thinking some of them might want to take a shot at.
Good call, Sam.
The Jeep's parked right over there, ma'am. We'll just hop on the ferry and be right there.
Whoa, 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 we gotta take a boat?
Yes, sir, to get to the other side of the bay.
Whitaker didn't say anything about a boat.
Is there a problem, sir?
No, no problem. I'm just not crazy about boats, that's all.
Jesus Christ, Kathy, you're in the Navy for crying out loud. You want to get a hold of yourself?
Nobody likes her very much.
Yes, sir.
Nathan Jessup, come on in, sit down.
This is Commander Joanne Galloway. She is observing and evaluating.
How do you do?
Pleased to meet you, Commander.
Sam Weinberg, he has no responsibilities here whatsoever.
I've asked Captain Markinson and Lieutenant Kendrick to join us. Matthew's my second in command, Jonathan's XO for the Whitworth side.
Lieutenant Kathy, I had the honor of meeting your father once. I was a student and he spoke at my high school.
Lionel Cappy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Jiminy goddamn cricket. John, you're too young to know, but this man's dad once made a lot of enemies down in your neck of the woods. Jefferson, the Madison County School District. Folks down there said it was all right for kids to say the Lord's Prayer in the classroom. Lionel Cappy said, no, it wasn't. Tell you something else. Badley Stevenson never been elected, you'd be looking at the son of the Attorney General. How the hell is your dad?
Beg your pardon?
Still trying to overthrow the government?
Not any longer, sir.
Oh, don't tell me he passed away.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, son.
Thank you, sir. It was 7 years ago.
Well, don't I feel like the fucking asshole?
Not at all, sir.
What can we do for you, Danny?
Not much, really, I'm afraid. This is more formality than anything else. Your JAG Corps insists that I interview all the relevant witnesses.
The JAG Corps can be demanding that way.
Shouldn't take more than an hour.
John, check your watch. Go.
Hey! No! Stop! Let go! Help me!
Lucky it was us, Willie. It could be worse. Be somebody else.
Now, on the morning of the 6th, you were contacted by an NIS agent who said that Santiago had tipped him off to an illegal fence line shooting. Is that right?
Yes.
Santiago was going to reveal the person's name in exchange for a transfer. Am I getting all that right?
Yes.
If I'm leaving out any details, you should feel free to speak up.
Thank you.
It was at this time you called Captain Markinson and Lieutenant Kendrick into your office for a meeting.
Yes.
And what happened?
We agreed that for his own safety, Santiago should be transferred off the base.
Santiago was to be transferred?
On the first available flight to the States, 6 o'clock the next morning. 6 hours too late, as it turned out.
Yeah. That's all I have. Thank you very much for your time.
Wait a minute, I've got a few questions.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Colonel, at 3 a.m., the attending physician, Commander Stone, was unable to determine a cause of death. At 5 a.m., he said it was poison. Do you have any idea what might have persuaded him?
You'd have to ask Stone.
Did you meet with the doctor between 3 and 5?
Joe?
Of course I met with the doctor. One of my men was dead.
See? His man was dead. Let's go.
Lieutenant Kendrick, do you think Santiago was murdered?
I beg your pardon?
I'm just curious. You knew these men. Was Santiago murdered?
Commander, I believe in God and in His Son, Jesus Christ. Because I do, I can say this. Santiago is dead, and that is a tragedy. But he is dead because he had no code. He is dead because he had no honor. And God was watching.
How do you feel about that theory? Sounds good. Let's go.
I don't like it.
Well, look at that. Another Christmas card I won't be getting.
Colonel, do you know the term code red?
Commander?
I was under the impression Lieutenant Caffey was leading this investigation.
It's an easy mistake to make.
I apologize.
Have you heard the term code red,
I've
sir?
heard the term, yes.
Colonel, this past February, you were issued a cautionary memo from the Commander-in-Chief of the Atlantic Fleet, warning that the practice of code reds was not to be condoned by officers.
I submit to you that whoever wrote that memo has never served on the working end of a Soviet-made Cuban AK-47 assault rifle. However, the directive having come from the commander, I gave it its due attention. What's your point, Joe?
She has no point. She often has no point. It's part of her charm. We're done here.
My point is that what might have looked like premeditated murder could have just been a botched-up code red. Do code reds still happen on this base, Colonel?
Joe, the Colonel doesn't need to answer that question.
Yes, he does.
No, he really doesn't.
Yeah, he really does, Colonel.
You know, it just hit me. She outranks you, Danny.
Yes, sir.
I want to tell you something, and listen up, because I mean this. There is nothing sexier than a woman that you have to salute in the morning. Promote them all, I say, because this is true. If you've never gotten a blowjob from a superior officer, you are letting the best in life pass you by.
Colonel, the practice of code reds is still going on this base, isn't it?
Joe, goddamn it.
My problem is, of course, that I'm a colonel, so I'll just have to keep taking cold showers until they elect some gal president.
I need an answer to my question,
You'll
sir.
get an answer.
I need it now, sir.
Take caution in your tone, Commander. I'm a fair guy, but this fucking heat is making me absolutely crazy. You want to know about code reds? On the record, I tell you I discourage the practice in accordance with the Commander's directive. Off the record, I tell you that they're an invaluable part of close infantry training. And if they happen to go on without my knowledge, so be it. I run my unit how I run my unit. You want to investigate me, roll the dice, and take your chances. It's not like you're going to come down here and flash a badge at me and make me nervous. I eat my breakfast 80 yards away from 4,000 Cubans who are trained to kill me.
Let's go.
The corporal has your jeep outside. He'll run you back to the flight line.
Thank you. Colonel, I just need a copy of that transfer order.
What's that?
Santiago's transfer order? You guys have paperwork on that sort of thing, I just need it for the file.
For the file?
Yeah.
Of course you can have a copy of the transfer order for the file. I'm here to help out any way I can.
Thank you.
You do believe that, don't you, Danny? That I'm here to help out any way I can?
Sure.
Corporal can run you by personnel on your way to the flight line. You can have all the transfer orders you want. But you have to ask me nicely.
I beg your pardon?
You have to ask me nicely. I don't mind the bullets and the bombs and the blood, Danny. I don't mind the heat and the stress and the fear. I don't want money and I don't want medals. What I do want is for you to stand there in that faggoty white uniform and with your Harvard mouth extend me some fucking courtesy. You gotta ask me nicely.
Don't do it, Danny.
Colonel, it's not too much trouble. I'd like a copy of the transfer order. Sir.
No problem. First thing we do, let's kill all the lawyers.
Shakespeare. Colonel.
I hate casualties, Matthew. A Marine smothers a grenade and saves his platoon. That Marine is doing his job. There are casualties, even in victory. The fabric of the base, the foundation of the unit, the spirit of the Corps. These are things worth fighting for. And there's no one who doesn't understand that, who's ever made the decision to put on a uniform. I hate casualties. Dawson and Downey, they're smothering a grenade.
Just the same, Colonel. If I were you, I'd get myself a lawyer.
Officer on deck! 10-8!
Why did you care Santiago was writing a letter?
Sir?
I want to know why you cared.
It was a code red, sir!
Jessup thinks you're full of shit. He doesn't think you were trying to train Santiago. He thinks you were trying to kill him.
That's not true, sir!
What's true? Why did you care?
It was a code red, sir!
4,000 men on that base. Not one of them went into Santiago's room that night.
I was his squad leader, sir. It was my job.
He was messing up every day for 8 months, and you never gave him a code red before that night. Why'd you care that night?
Santiago broke the chain of command.
Not you. Him. Why did you care?
Sir, Private Santiago broke the chain
No,
of command.
no, I don't want to hear about your chain of command. I don't want to hear about loyalty, and I don't want to hear about your bozo code of honor. Why did you give him a code red?
Private Santiago broke the chain.
Did you hear what I said?
Private Santiago needed to learn.
Why did you give him a code red?
He had a responsibility.
Bullshit! Why did you do it?
Because God was watching.
What did Kendrick say to you?
God is watching, Lance Corporal Dawson, and he helps those who help themselves. And so do I. Get your house in order, Lance Corporal. Unit, Corps, God, country. And duty to self simply is not part of that equation. Get your house in order so that these men can believe in you again. Get your house in order so that the Lord our God can look down and say, there is a United States Marine, and I will stand at his side. Get your house in order, and don't let anyone ever tell you we are not at war.
You were given an order.
Yes, sir.
Kendrick ordered the code red.
Yes, sir.
He told every other man at that meeting not to touch Santiago, and then he told the two of you. I've got to talk to the prosecutor. Do you mind telling me why the hell you never mentioned this before?
You never asked us, sir.
No, cutie pie shit's not going to win you a place in my heart, Corporal. I get paid no matter how much time you spend in jail.
Yes, sir. I know you do, sir.
Fuck you, Harold. Be back.
What did they say?
I want you to stop following me. I want you to get off my back, and I want you off this case.
Markinson went UA.
What?
Unauthorized absence.
I know what it means. When?
Tonight, after we left.
Talk to him in the morning.
I already tried. Nobody can find him. What did they say?
You already tried? You understand the meaning of interfering with a government investigation?
I do, but I'm not. Because I am now Lawton Downey's attorney.
What the hell are you talking about?
Aunt Ginny. She said she feels she's known me for years. She'd feel more comfortable if I were directly involved. Lawton signed the paperwork half an hour ago. Don't worry, I'm not going to make a motion for separation nor leave counsel. I defer to your skills as a litigator. What did they say?
You frightened me. I'm involved now in a situation in which the stakes could not be higher. I'm not going to take time out to give tutorials in criminal procedure to an internal affairs schoolgirl who doesn't know what the fuck she's doing.
I just melt when you sugar talk me, Danny. What did they say?
Kendrick gave them an order.
What do we do now?
Find Jan Ross.
You talk to the other guys in the platoon.
I don't have to.
Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, they all say the same thing.
They weren't there. Kendrick dismissed the rest of the platoon. You talked to Kendrick.
I already talked to Kendrick. I told you before you went down there. He denies everything. She talked to Kendrick?
Yeah, she...
You talked to Kendrick?
Didn't think...
Why did you think there was anything to deny?
Joe?
I had a suspicion. You had a
It's not important.
You had a suspicion and you chose not to tell anybody. It was just... Who is this?
Commander Galloway, she's Downey's attorney. She's very pleased to meet you.
Ebenezer Galloway? Look, you want to charge me with something, ma'am? How are you getting information 12/24? You want to charge me with
everybody in the interest of justice! Take a deep knee bend. Joe said Ross didn't know about the order because if she didn't and hadn't told us about it, she knows she'd be violating about 14 articles of the Code of Ethics. But she's got enough to worry about. God forbid our clients decide to plead not guilty and testify for the record that these things happen every day.
Kendrick specifically told the men.
And then he specifically told Dawson and Downey to shave his head.
That's not what Kendrick said.
Kendrick is crazy. Kendrick is mean, and Kendrick is lying.
You have proof?
I have the defendants.
And I have 23 men who aren't accused of murder, and a Marine lieutenant with 4 letters of commendation.
Why did Markinson go UA?
We'll never know.
You don't think I can subpoena Markinson?
You can try, but you won't find him.
What are you talking about, Jan?
Do you know what Markinson did for the first 17 of his 21 years in the Corps? CIC, Danny. Counterintelligence. Markinson's gone. There is no Markinson. Colonel Jessup's star is on the rise. They're giving me a lot of room to spare him embarrassment.
How much room?
I could knock it all down to assault and bad conduct. 2 years, they'll be home in 6 months. She's got a PR problem, Nanny. She can't afford to go to court. Which is lucky for you because you're turning green at the thought of it. Yes, going to court would be bad for me. It would be bad for the Corps, and I'd be responsible for how the officers were treated as witnesses. But you go to court, and the boys go away for 40 years.
Come on,
Are
Jen.
we clear on that? We have to be clear on that. Once we go outside this room, I have to put the hammer down. They'll be charged with a boatload, murder, conspiracy, conduct unbecoming, and in a courtroom, you lose this case. Please, I am your friend, and I am telling you, I think Kendrick is lying, and I don't think your guys belong in jail. But I don't get to make that decision. I represent the people, without passion, you see. And the people have a case.
Tell him to plead to assault. All in all, it's not a bad week's work for the defense. That's the end of this negotiation. 9 o'clock tomorrow. I'll see you at the arraignment.
All right, here's the deal. Now, I think you're going to be very happy. You plead guilty to assault, and the government prosecutor will recommend 2 years with probation after 6 months. Wow, Pappy! You're a great lawyer! How could we ever thank you? Just doing my job. Fellas, did you hear me? You're going home in 6 months. Fellas?
I'm afraid we can't do that, sir.
Do what?
Make a deal, sir.
What are you talking about?
We did nothing wrong, sir. We did our job. If that has consequences, then I accept them. But I won't say I'm guilty, sir.
Did you? Did she put you up to this?
No.
We have a code, sir.
Well, zippity-doo-dah. You plead not guilty, you'll go to jail for the rest of your lives. Do what I'm saying, and you'll go home in 6 months.
Permission to
speak!
What do we do then, sir?
When?
After 6 months. We get a dishonorable discharge, right?
Probably.
What do we do then? We didn't join the Corps because we felt like it. We joined because it was a life decision. We wanted to live by a code, and we found it in the Corps. And now you want us to sign a piece of paper that says we have no honor. You want us to say we're not Marines. If the court decides that what we did was wrong, then I accept whatever punishment they give. But I believe I was right. I believe I did my job. I will not dishonor myself, my unit, or the Corps so that I can go home in 6 months! Sir!
You guys are a freak show. I am not talking to Dawson anymore. He doesn't like me, and he's going to jail just to spite me. I want to get him a new attorney.
All right. Tomorrow at the arraignment, you make a motion. The judge will ask for a plea. We'll move to an 802 conference. You explain the situation then.
That's that.
Yeah, just one thing though. When you ask the judge for new counsel, be sure to ask nicely.
What do you want from me?
I want you to let them be judged. I want you to stand up and make an argument.
An argument that didn't work for Callie at My Lai, and an argument that didn't work for the Nazis at Nuremberg.
Jesus Christ, Sam. You really think that's the same thing as 2 teenage Marines executing a routine order they didn't think would result in any harm? These kids aren't Nazis.
Don't look now, Danny, but you're arguing a position.
Yeah. Tomorrow I get them a new attorney.
Why are you so afraid to be a lawyer?
Look.
Were Daddy's expectations really that high?
Hey! Dawson and Downey will have their day in court. They'll just have it with another lawyer.
Another lawyer won't be good enough. They need you.
Why?
Because you know how to win. I know how to fight, but you know how to win.
I know the law.
You know nothing about the law. You're a used car salesman, Daniel. You're an ambulance chaser with a rank. Live with that.
Sam? Why does a lieutenant junior grade with 6 months experience and a track record for plea bargaining get singled out to handle a murder case? Would it be so it never sees the inside of the courtroom? cells now, huh?
Yes, sir.
You want to hear a joke? Did you hear about the Japanese pilot who hated jazz? He bombed Pearl Bailey. 99% sure you weren't going to laugh at that. Want some milk? It's good for the teeth and bones.
No, thank you, sir.
I don't know how else to say this, but I think you got to do it. Let me make a deal for you. I mean, Harold, in the end, it's 6 months. It's a hockey season. At the end of it all, what difference does it make?
Do you think we were right?
It doesn't matter what I think.
Do you think we were right?
It is not a matter of right and wrong.
Yes, it is. It always is. That's something people like you say, but it is. Do you think we're guilty?
What do you mean people like me?
Do you think we're guilty?
Think you lose.
You're such a coward. I can't believe they let you wear a uniform.
You are going to Leavenworth for the rest of your life, and there is nothing I can do about it. I could have gotten you 6 months. I am not going to feel responsible for you. And pay! What happened to saluting an officer before he leaves the room?
All right, where are we? Docket number 411275, VR TAC 5. The United States versus Lance Corporal Harold W. Dawson and Private First Class Loudon Downey. The defendants are charged with murder in the second degree, conspiracy to commit murder, and conduct unbecoming a United States Marine.
Does the defense wish to enter a plea?
Yeah. They're not guilty.
Enter a plea of not guilty for the defendants. We will adjourn until 1000 hours, 1 week from today, at which time we will reconvene as a general court-martial. I will see counsel in my chambers. Now.
10 hut!
Say, boys?
Yes, sir.
Don't say yes, sir, and look at me like I just asked you to clean the latrine. You're in jail right now. Get some rest. Don't talk to anybody but the three of us. They're dismissed. Danny, they were given an order. An illegal order. You think they know what an illegal order is? I don't know what an illegal order is.
Any decent human being would have known that
They're not permitted to question orders. Period.
Then what's the secret? What are the magic words? I give orders all the time and nobody follows them.
Where we work, there are softball games and marching bands. Where they work, you gotta wear camouflage or you might get shot. What are you looking at?
What made you change your mind?
Not you.
Well, the law says that you can't do what they did. It's as simple as that.
It is not as simple as that. We are defense counsel. We position the truth. What they teach you?
To tell the truth, not position it.
They taught you wrong.
We're wasting time.
Hey, kid. I'll decide how time is spent and how it's wasted. If you have a problem with that, Downey can stand separate trial.
You're still an asshole, you know?
We'll work every night out of my place, 7 o'clock. Joe, before you come over tonight, grab a carton of legal pads, half a dozen boxes of red pens, half a dozen boxes of blue pens. Sam, grab some card tables and some desk lamps. I'm going to get started on the medical profile. I will need pro-con reports on Dawson, Downey, and Santiago.
I'll get them.
Sam, work with Dawson. Razor sharp order takers.
Stepford Marine.
Okay.
Joe, work with Downey 2 hours a day. Get him to stop squinting when he talks. He looks shifty. All I got at my place are you and sugar smacks, so bring whatever you want. And don't wear that perfume, it wrecks my concentration.
Really?
I was talking Sam. So this is what the inside of a courtroom looks like.
Commander Stone to see you, sir.
Thank you, Tom. Walter, any news?
Not yet, sir. We still got a few tests to run, and they'll take some time. Even at that, I'm not certain we're going to be able to make a determination.
I see.
Colonel, it would help us to know what happened.
It was a code red. The men were shaving his head.
The boy didn't die of a haircut.
He died because that's what the Lord saw fit.
Mary, Mother of God, John, give the Lord a rest, would you please?
Yes, sir.
You look like hell. You get some rest yourself.
Yes, sir.
Walter, I don't want to pin you down to anything. I know you've got more tests to run. Let me ask you this. What are the possibilities at this point?
It could have been any number of things, Nathan. They used a gag. It could have gotten caught in his throat. There could have been poison on the rag. Or they could have scared the hell out of him and he had a heart attack. Like I said, we may never be certain. Sometimes it's a judgment call.
A heart attack?
He has a medical history that suggests the possibility of a slight coronary condition. Nathan, what the hell?
Why wasn't the coronary disorder detected before?
I said the possibility.
That's not an answer.
The symptoms. Santiago's symptoms were more likely pointing to 100 far less debilitating conditions. There were no red flags.
Is that what you're going to say to a board of inquiry?
I don't understand.
Doctor, you give these men a thorough examination every 3 months. And every 3 months, you send Santiago back on that wall with a clean bill of health. Am I wrong?
The symptoms weren't nearly as clear cut as you.
Let me ask you this. What could happen to a doctor's career because of a thing like this? You know what I think happened? I don't think it was a code red. I think Dawson and Downey got it into their heads to kill Santiago. I think, like you said, there had to have been poison in the bag.
It's a possibility.
How long have we known each other?
4 years.
Close on to 5. One of the first things I did when I got this command was request your assignment to the hospital. And the first thing I'll do when I leave is to tell the folks in the situation room, I want Walter with the big stones coming with me. I put my trust in you, Walter. I put the lives of my Marines in your hands. That's why I think it had to be poison. Go back and run those tests. You're the doctor. You're the damn good doctor. Whatever you say, I'll live with it. There's going to be an investigation into the cause of death, and I'll do whatever I can for you, Walter.
Thank you, sir.
Dismissed. Tom?
Sir.
Find me Captain Markinson.
Sir, Lance Corporal Harold W. Dawson, sir!
Why do you do that, Harold? I'm representing you in a murder trial. Do you honestly think I don't know who you are? Thought we were through with that shit the night I struck an enlisted man without cause or provocation. Which I couldn't help but notice you didn't report to anybody. I wanted to come by and give you some words of... give you some encouragement.
Sit up straight. Now, I know I'm talking to a brick wall here, but I think there are a couple of things I want you to consider before we start. The first is that Commander Galloway, Lieutenant Weinberg, and I are doing everything we possibly can for you. Second is that we are going to get creamed. That's not very confidence-inspiring, I know.
It's all right. I'm not the one that needs confidence. After all, it's not up to me anymore, is it? You have to accept the consequences too, right?
Yes, but you see, they're not my consequences to accept.
That almost makes it a little worse, doesn't it, sir?
We're going to lose, Harold. And we are going to lose huge. Sit up straight. Chance, I'll flip you for it.
Head up!
Too late.
All those having business with this General Court-Martial, stand forward and you shall be heard. Captain Julius Alexander Randolph is presiding. God save the United States of America.
Before the judge advocate calls her first witness, I want to get some language clear. That, without objection, short statements of the defendants have been read to the members and entered into the court record.
No objection, sir.
No objection.
And that, without objection, the sworn statements of 21 members of Rifle Security Company have been read to the members and entered into the court record.
No objection, sir.
No objection.
Is the government prepared to present its case?
We are, sir. Please, the court, before we begin, may I ask if all of these MPs are really necessary?
Are they making you nervous?
No, sir. They're projecting the image that the defendants are dangerous and/or a flight risk. Judge, the court might alert Commander Galloway to the fact that the defendants are on trial for murder. The defendants, who have been found guilty of no crime, are in handcuffs. And I'm certain that if they were to break free and make their escape, before armed guards at the door could apprehend them. In fact, it appears that every sailor at the Washington Navy Yard who isn't in this courtroom is guarding this courtroom. Judge, the Provost Marshal felt that the defendants should be a security priority. The Provost Marshal is in charge of security on this base. I was following his advice. The Provost Marshal's gonna feel like an idiot if someone steals one of our ships during this trial.
Take your seat, Commander IA.
Yes, sir. Government calls Commander Stone.
Call Commander Stone.
Dr. Stone, for the record, would you state your full name, rank, and current billet, please?
Commander Walter Stone, my billet is internal medicine specialist, Guantanamo Bay Naval Hospital.
Thank you. You can have a seat. How long have you been attached to the hospital at Gitmo?
From October 1 of last year to the present.
And on July 7 of this year, did you have occasion to treat Private First Class William Santiago?
I did.
Would you describe that treatment?
PFC Santiago was brought in on the morning of the 7th at 0010. He was coughing up blood and suffering from a severe lack of oxygen. He lost consciousness at 0035.
And what were your observations upon examination?
Well, the most obvious things were the rope marks around his wrists, and he had a partially shaved head. X-rays and lab work revealed that his lungs were filled with fluid bilaterally due to profound acidosis. That is, a buildup of acid in the lungs.
And what causes acid to build up in a person's lungs?
Well, if the muscles and other cells begin to burn sugar instead of oxygen, lactic acid is produced.
And from the moment the cells begin burning sugar to the moment the lungs are filled with fluid, how long does that take?
Ordinarily, about an hour.
Doctor, you say ordinarily. Was this an unusual case?
Yes.
How so?
In Santiago's case, the chemical reaction took less than 15 minutes.
Why was the reaction sped up in Santiago's case?
He had to have ingested a poison of some kind.
Your Honor, we object at this point. The witness can only speculate as to what caused the reaction.
The commander is an expert medical witness, and in this courtroom, his opinion is not considered speculation.
Commander Stone is an internist, not a criminologist, and the medical facts in this case are ultimately inconclusive.
A point I'm confident you'll illustrate to the jury upon cross-examination, so you won't mind if we have the doctor's opinion admitted now.
Not at all, sir. Objection withdrawn.
Doctor, would you say that Willie Santiago died of poisoning?
Absolutely.
Are you aware that the lab report and the coroner's report showed no traces of poison?
Yes, I am.
Then how do you
There are
justify...
literally dozens of toxins that would be virtually undetectable under certain circumstances. It's the nature of the acidosis that's a compelling factor in this issue.
Thank you, sir.
Doctor!
Don't call him doctor.
Right. Good. Commander, other than the rope marks, was there any other sign of external damage?
No.
No cuts?
No.
Scrapes?
No.
Bruises, broken bones, fat lip?
No.
Commander, was there any sign of violence?
You mean aside from the dead body?
Fuck! Walk into that one every goddamn time.
Your witness.
Commander, my charges say they didn't use poison. So what I'd like to do is ask you a few questions to see if there could possibly be another explanation.
Lieutenant, there is no other explanation. A layman would have
A
to
layman?
understand it.
Pardon me, but you were talking to a man who got a C+ in biochem. Twice. Now, if I understand correctly, the fact that the process took 15 minutes and not 60 minutes is what led you to the conclusion that Santiago had to have been poisoned.
Yes.
60 minutes is about average.
Yes.
Some people it's a little more, and some people it's a little less.
A little bit more, a little bit less.
Commander, is it possible for someone to have an affliction, some sort of condition that would render the person less capable of withstanding the lactic acid? Commander, is it possible?
Well, I suppose if a person had a cerebral condition, it's possible that it could take less than an hour.
What about a coronary disorder or condition? I believe it's called a coronary condition.
Lieutenant, we are speaking about an 18-year-old Marine in extraordinary physical condition.
The Marines require them to maintain a certain standard of physical fitness. Is that right?
Standards which are even higher for the Marines in RSC.
In fact, you give them a thorough physical examination once every 3 months. Is that right?
That's right.
Doctor, is it possible for a young man to have a coronary condition where the initial warning signs are so mild that they could escape a doctor during a routine physical exam?
You have to understand, although in medicine we like to be exact about everything.
Well, that's the beauty about being a lawyer for the defense. I don't have to be exact. I just have to worry about, is it possible? Is it possible?
There'd be symptoms.
What kind of symptoms?
Well, all manners of symptoms.
Chest pains?
Yes.
Shortness of breath?
Certainly.
Fatigue?
Well, there's pumping blood to the brain at the proper rate.
Doctor, is this your signature?
Yes, it is.
This is an order for Santiago to be put on temporary restricted duty. Would you read your handwritten remarks at the bottom of the page, please, sir?
Initial testing negative. Patient complains of chest pains, shortness of breath, fatigue. Restricted from running distances over 5 miles for a period of 1 week.
Thank you. More questions?
Initial testing negative. That's what it says here. But what kind of of tests worthy?
Well, they were all matters.
Cardiovascular tests?
Yes.
Cardiopulmonary tests?
Yes.
Physical strength? Endurance? In fact, in all, how many separate cardio tests were administered to Santiago?
17.
And did any of those 17 tests indicate that there might be something wrong with his heart?
No.
Doctor, the medical equipment in the CCU of the Guantanamo Naval Hospital, would you describe it as modern or outdated?
It's very modern equipment.
In fact, it is the same equipment used in the CCU of the Bethesda Naval Hospital here in Maryland.
That's right.
The same Bethesda Naval Hospital where the President of the United States goes for his medical checkups.
Yes.
Doctor, you have held a license to practice medicine for over 20 years. You are board certified in internal medicine. You are chief of internal medicine at a hospital that serves over 7,000 people. In your opinion, was Willie Santiago poisoned?
Please, the court, we renew our objection to Commander Stone's testimony and ask that it be stricken from the record. We further ask that the court instruct the jury to lend no weight to this witness's testimony.
The objection's overruled, Commander.
Your Honor, the defense strenuously objects and requests conference in chambers so that His Honor might have the opportunity to hear discussion before ruling on the objection.
The defense's objection has been heard and overruled. The witness is an expert, and the court will hear his opinion.
Exception.
Noted.
Doctor, in your expert opinion, was Willie Santiago poisoned?
There's no question about it.
Thank you, sir. I have no more questions.
Commander, you may step down.
Please, the court, where the government reserves the right to call rebuttal witnesses should the need arise, we rest our case.
We will stand in recess until Monday morning, at which time the defense can call its first witness.
Dead hook!
I strenuously object. Is that how this works? Objection overruled. Oh, no. I strenuously object. Oh, well, if you strenuously object, then let me take a moment to reconsider.
I got it on the record.
You also got it in the jury's head that we're afraid of the doctor. You object once, so they can hear you say he's not a criminologist. And any more than that, then the great cross that we did looks like just a bunch of fancy lawyer tricks, which was just what Ross was hoping for. It is the difference between paper law and trial.
Sam?
I mean, Christ, you even had the judge saying that Stone was an expert.
You made a mistake. It's not really.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna piss you.
I'm gonna go call my wife. I'll see you tonight.
Why do you hate them so much?
They beat up on a weakling. And that is all they did. The rest is just a bunch of smoke-filled coffeehouse crap. They tortured and tormented a weaker kid. And it wasn't just that night. Read the letters. It was 8 months. You know what? I'll bet it was his whole life. They beat him up and they killed him. And why? Because he couldn't run very fast.
Do you think the argument we're going to make on Monday is legally sound?
I think the argument we're going to make on Monday is morally reprehensible.
Since when do lawyers get to decide what's morally reprehensible?
Since when do Marines get to decide what laws they're going to obey?
All right, that's enough. Joe, he is busting his ass for these guys. He doesn't need to be friends with them.
Sam, the only Marines we're concerned with are Dawson and Downey. Now everybody, just take the night off.
Danny...
No, I mean it. We've been working 18-hour days for 2 weeks. Go spend time with your family. Joe, go do whatever it is you do when you're not here. We'll work in the morning. Shouldn't we at least...
No!
Take the night off.
See you tomorrow.
Hey, Thought we had a pretty good day. Gotta hand it to Ross, though. She is very good.
She asked 7 questions on her redirect and sent the jury to bed with the image that Walter Stone is the president's doctor. She put Stone in her pocket with 7 questions. I think she is just warming up.
That was depressing.
How much damage did I cause?
Doesn't matter.
Are you saying it doesn't matter because it's water under the bridge, or it doesn't matter because I didn't cause that much damage?
Doesn't matter because we'll never know, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Good. That's a good attitude to have.
What made you want to become a lawyer for the Navy?
They wouldn't let me fly the planes or drive the boats.
You are like 7 of the strangest women I've ever met.
I know. I'm the girl guys like you hated in the 6th grade.
So you're the girl guys like me tortured in the 6th grade. I'll see you in the morning. Why do you like them so much?
Right now, there's probably nobody in the world that Dawson dislikes more than you. And if somebody fired a gun at you, he'd stand in front of the bullet without thinking twice.
Don't worry about the doctor. His trial starts Monday.
Can I help you? God, I hope so. I've been getting the runaround all morning. Gilbert Hamilton, Baltimore Sun-Times.
Hey, good sports section.
The best.
What can I do for you?
Doing a 2-part feature on air traffic at different bases around the world, but I'm focusing mainly on Naval Air Station Guantanamo Bay and Andrews Air Force Base.
Sounds interesting.
Do you keep on file a record of incoming and outgoing flights?
Anything that isn't classified, sure. We have copies of all the Daily Tower Chief's logs.
Is that so?
Sure. They list incoming and outgoing flights, passenger manifests. We just have the copies of the original state of the base.
No problem. I need a copy of the Tower Chief's logs for Andrews and Guantanamo for the evening of July 6th, morning of July 7th.
Got it. The only thing is, I'm going to need to see a plea requisition form at a 710 signed by 2 officers over the rank of lieutenant. Oh, I'm sorry, but I can't show the logbooks without a plea requisition form at a 710 signed by 2 officers over the rank of lieutenant.
I understand. Is the duty officer around?
No, sir. He's at a department meeting.
She is. Is there anyone else I can speak with?
Not for another half hour. Everyone's at lunch.
Let's go get some logbooks.
Lieutenant Caffey, are you ready to call your first witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Defense calls Corporal Howard.
Corporal Howard, have you been previously sworn?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you state your full name, rank, and current billet for the record, please?
Corporal Jeffrey Owen Howard, Marine Barracks Windward, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
Thank you, Corporal. You can have a seat.
Corporal, you a little nervous?
No, sir.
Would you like some water?
No, sir, I'm fine, thank you.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Well, if you'd like some water or like to take a short break, you just let us know.
Judge, the witness has twice said he doesn't want any water. Can we...
Lieutenant?
Sir. Corporal, you've been called to testify and to give the court a better insight into the nature of the duty of Marines in RFC Windward. You should feel free to use the map that's behind you.
Yes, sir. It's very simple, really. The base is divided...
Corporal?
Sir?
You're going to have to wait for me to ask you a question.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir.
Would you describe the general layout of the base for us, please?
Yes, sir. It's very simple, really. The base is divided into two halves, the divider being Guantanamo Bay. Each half of the base has its own rifle security company. On the left side is RSC Leeward, see? And on the right is Windward.
And what is the function of Marines in RFC Windward?
To provide ground support in the event of an enemy engagement and to provide day-to-day security on the fence line.
How much time do the Marines spend on watch?
We're on the fence for 1 week, then off for a week.
And when you're on the fence, how long is each watch?
6 hours on, 6 hours off.
6 hours on, 6 hours off. 1 week on, 1 week off.
Yes, sir.
Are the sentries armed?
Yes, sir.
With?
Sir?
What are the Marines armed with?
Sir?
What are you armed with, Corporal?
Weapons?
Pea shooter, pocket knife, slingshot?
Oh, no, sir. A pea shooter, pocket knife. That was funny, sir.
Permission to lead the witness?
By a leash, if necessary.
You're armed with an M16 rifle and 60 rounds of ammunition. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Corporal, what is a code red?
Sir, a code red is a disciplinary action brought against a Marine who's fallen out of line.
Name some ways in which a Marine could fall out of line.
Being late for platoon or company meetings, keeping his barracks in disorder, letting his personal appearance become substandard, behaving in a manner unbecoming a Marine, falling back on a run.
Have you ever received a code red?
Yes, sir.
Would you describe it, please?
I dropped my weapon during a field exercise one day. We were doing 7-man assault drills and I dropped my weapon. It's just that my palms were sweaty because it was over 100 degrees and my weapon just slipped, sir.
Then what happened?
That night in my barracks, the guys in my squad threw a blanket over me. Took turns punching me in the arm for 5 minutes. Then they poured glue on my hands.
Okay.
It worked too, because I ain't never dropped my weapon since.
We're going to have to strike that, Corporal, but it was a nice try. What happened after they got done punching you in the arm and pouring glue on your hands?
They took me to the Post 44 and bought me a beer.
They gave you a Code Red, and then they bought you a beer.
Yes, sir.
Were you acquainted with Private Santiago?
Yes, sir.
Did you come in contact with him every day?
Yes, sir.
You participated in drills together?
Yes, sir.
Your squad served on the fence?
Yes, sir.
You shared a barracks hall?
Yes, sir.
Was Santiago ever late for platoon meetings?
Yes, sir.
Did he ever let his barracks become in disorder?
Yes, sir.
Did he ever let his appearance become substandard?
Yes, sir.
Did he ever fall back on a run?
All the time, sir.
In your estimation, did he ever behave in a manner unbecoming a Marine?
Absolutely, sir, yes.
Did he ever, before the night of July 6th, receive a Code Red?
No, sir.
Ever? You got a Code Red because your palms were sweaty. Why didn't Santiago, this burden and embarrassment to his unit, why didn't he ever receive a Code Red?
Corporal Dawson wouldn't allow it, sir.
Corporal Dawson wouldn't allow it.
How was Corporal Dawson was Santiago's squad leader? He wouldn't let anyone go near him, sir. The guys talked tough about Santiago, but when it came down to it, they wouldn't touch him. They were too afraid of Corporal Dawson, sir.
Object. The witness is characterizing.
I'll rephrase. Corporal Howard, did you ever want to give Santiago a Code Red?
Yes, sir.
Why didn't you?
Because
Dawson kicked my butt, sir.
Good enough. Lieutenant Ross is going to ask you some questions now.
Corporal, I hold here the Marine Guide and General Information Handbook for new recruits. Are you familiar with this book?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you read it?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Would you turn to the chapter that deals with code regs, please?
I'm sorry, ma'am?
Just flip to the page in the book that discusses code regs.
Code reds aren't in this book, ma'am.
I see. Let's turn then to the Marine Infantry Handbook. Would you find us the section on code regs in this book and then read it to us, please?
Ma'am, you see, code red is a Marine term that, well, we only use it down at Gitmo, ma'am. I don't know
Where is left then? The Marine Corps Guide for Sentry Duty, NAV Base, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. I assume we'll find the term code red and its definition in this book, and then we can move on. Am I correct, Corporal?
No, ma'am.
No? Corporal Howard, I'm a Marine. Is there no book, no manual or pamphlet, no set of orders or regulations that let me know that as a Marine, one of my duties is to perform code reds?
No, ma'am. No books, ma'am.
No further questions.
Corporal Howard, will you turn to the page in this book where it tells me where the enlisted men's mess hall is?
Lieutenant Cappy, that's not in the book, sir.
No? You mean to tell the court you've been stationed at Gitmo for 13 months and in all that time you've never had a meal?
No, sir. 3 squares a day.
I'm confused. How did you know where the mess hall was? It's not in the book.
I guess I just followed the crowd at chow time, sir.
No more questions.
Thank you, sir.
We'll take a 5-minute recess. Don't anybody go too far.
As you were.
Can I talk to you alone for a minute, please? That was nice work, the redirect on Howard.
Thank you.
I want this to end now. I don't want Kendrick to have to take the stand.
Yeah, it was a real day at the beach, isn't it?
I was up to half the night with him. He is bright, articulate, nothing in the closet, and you're going to make a meal out of him.
What are you getting at, Jan?
That's what I wanted to ask you. You're putting on a very entertaining defense that's going nowhere. But you start looking like you're enjoying it, and you're going to find yourself practicing law on a weather ship off of Bayonne, New Jersey.
2 minutes till the Reverend Kendrick. What can I do for you?
Don't put him on the stand. I have to protect these guys. I can't allow them to look like clowns. Stop now. 3 years apiece.
4 weeks ago, we were talking about 6 months.
4 weeks ago, your clients pissed on 6 months. 4 weeks ago, your clients were in a daily feature in the Washington Post, and neither were you. You can tap dance all you want. At the end of the day, all you have is the testimony of 2 men accused of murder.
Tell me about it.
You got bullied into this room by everyone, by Dawson, by Galloway. Shit, I practically bullied you. You got bullied into this room, even though not for 1 second have you believed you could win. You got bullied into this room by the memory of a lawyer who might have stood a chance.
You're a lousy fucking softball player, Jan.
Your guys are going down, and I can't stop it anymore.
The defense calls Lieutenant Jonathan James Kendrick.
Call Lieutenant Kendrick.
Lieutenant Kendrick, have you been previously sworn?
Yes, I have.
Would you state your full name, rank, and current billet for the record, please?
Lieutenant Jonathan James Kendrick, Executive Officer, Rifle Security Company, Windward, Marine Barracks, Guantanamo Bay.
Thank you, Lieutenant. You can have a seat.
Lieutenant Kendrick,
opinion, was Santiago a good Marine?
I'd say he was about average.
Lieutenant Kendrick, I have here the last 3 proficiency and conduct reports you co-signed on Santiago. On all 3 reports, you listed a rating of below average.
Yes, Private Santiago was below average. I just did not see the need in trampling on a man's grave.
We appreciate that. But you are under oath, and I think unpleasant as it might be, we'd all just hear the truth.
I'm aware of my oath.
Lieutenant Kendrick, I have here the last 3 profile reports you signed on Lance Corporal Dawson. The first 2 reports, you gave him a rating of exceptional. But on this last report, dated June 9th of this year, you gave him a rating of below average. It's this last report that I'd like to discuss for a moment.
That's fine.
Dawson's ranking after infantry training school was perfect. Record shows well over half his class has since made full corporal, while Dawson remains a lance corporal. Was Dawson's promotion held up because of this last report?
I'm sure it was.
Do you recall why you gave Dawson such a low grade on this last report?
I'm sure I don't. I have many men in my charge, Lieutenant. I write many reports.
Do you recall an incident involving a PFC Curtis Barnes who had been caught stealing liquor from the officers' club?
Yes.
Did you report Private Barnes to the proper authority?
I have 2 books by my bedside, Lieutenant. The Marine Code of Conduct and the King James Bible. The only proper authorities I am aware of are my commanding officer, Colonel Nathan R. Jessup, and Lord our God.
Lieutenant Kendrick, at your request, I could have the record reflect your lack of acknowledgement of this court as a proper authority.
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained. Watch yourself, Counselor.
Did you report Private Barnes to your superiors?
I remember thinking very highly of Private Barnes and not wanting his record tarnished by a formal charge.
You preferred to handle it within the unit?
Yes, I did.
Lieutenant Kendrick, do you know what a code red is?
Yes, I do.
Have you ever ordered a code red?
No, I have not.
Lieutenant, did you order Corporal Dawson and 2 men to make sure Curtis Barnes received no food or drink except for water for a period of 5 days?
That is a distortion of truth. Private Barnes was placed on barracks restriction. He was given water and vitamin supplements. And I assure you at no time was his health in danger.
The court care to remind the jury that Lieutenant Kendrick is not a medical expert and doesn't have the first clue as to whether or not Curtis Barnes' health was in danger?
The members are cautioned.
Lieutenant Kendrick, wouldn't this form of discipline be considered a code red?
Not necessarily.
If I call the other 379 members of RFC to testify, would they say it's a code red?
Please, the court, the witness cannot possibly testify to what 379 Marines would say. We object to this entire line of questioning as argumentative and irrelevant badgering of the witness.
Lieutenant Cappy, I will remind you that you're questioning a Marine officer with an impeccable service record.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. I'm also overruling your objection.
Your Honor, on the final question. Lieutenant Kendrick, did you give Corporal Dawson a below average rating because you learned he'd been sneaking food to Curtis Barnes?
Object.
Not so fast. Lieutenant?
Corporal Dawson was found to be below average because he committed a crime.
What crime did he commit? Lieutenant? Dawson brought a hungry guy some food. What crime did he commit?
He disobeyed an order.
And because he did that, because he exercised his own set of values, he was punished. Is that right?
Corporal Dawson disobeyed an order.
Yeah. But it wasn't a real order, was it? I mean, he wasn't asked to secure a hill or radio for battalion aid. I mean, surely a Marine of Dawson's obvious skill and intelligence should be able to determine on his own which orders he's going to follow and which orders might be, say, illegal. Can he, Lieutenant? Can Dawson determine on his own which orders he's going to follow?
No, he cannot.
It's a lesson he learned from the Curtis Barnes incident, am I right?
I would think so.
You know so, don't you, Lieutenant?
Object!
Sustained.
Lieutenant Kendrick, just one more question. If you had ordered Corporal Dawson to give Santiago a code red.
Please, the
I
court.
told these men not to touch
I
Santiago!
disobeyed you again!
Lieutenant, do not answer that.
You don't have to. I'm through.
Lieutenant Kendrick, did you order the defendants to give Willie Santiago a code red? Lieutenant
No,
Kendrick!
I did not.
This was outside your door, marked urgent and personal.
What is it?
Oh, my x-ray vision is failing me today. Open the damn thing.
Hey, Mr. Sunshine.
Knock it off. Does anybody want anything from the kitchen?
Yoo-hoo, please.
Sam?
I'll have a yoo-hoo.
You want a yoo-hoo?
Yeah.
Okay.
What, I want a yoo-hoo? Is that such a big deal? I mean, he asks for a yoo-hoo, it's like he's asking for the correct time. I ask for a yoo-hoo, oh no, the world is coming to an end.
What's in the envelope? Danny.
It's from Markinson.
To Lieutenant Junior Grade Daniel A. Caffey, United States Naval Reserve, Judge Advocate General's Corps. Lieutenant Caffey, I know the following to be true. Colonel Jessup never intended to transfer Private Santiago off the base. The transfer order you secured was written the morning of your arrival, 6 days after Private Santiago's death. Jessup's claim that the 0600 was the first available transportation off the base is a lie. There was a flight that left for Andrews Air Force Base 7 hours earlier. I have enclosed the 2 tower chiefs' logs. You will notice that while Colonel Jessup has removed the departure entry from the Guantanamo log, the arrival entry is in the Andrews log. Lieutenant, please don't waste valuable time and resources trying to find me. Save these men. Captain Matthew Andrew Markinson, United States Marine Corps.
Son of a bitch. I don't believe it. Son of a bitch!
I'll call DOD and find out if they're missing anything.
We're home. I've got to go tell Lawton.
Oh, forget about Downey. I need you to pull every string you can. FBI, CIA, let's hire our own guys if we need to. We have to find Markinson. We've got to have him.
Why? We've got the letter and the logbook.
The letter's typed and there's no signature. The logbooks are photocopies.
They're not admissible.
A Navy orderly was held at gunpoint by a man posing as a reporter for the Baltimore Sun-Times.
I'll get the original.
Don't bother. Jessup's probably heard about the robbery by now and he's fixed the original Andrews logbook.
Then we find Markinson. How hard can it be?
The guy walked into the Pentagon and stole government property at gunpoint. And we didn't hear about it until he sent this note.
And Jessup can just fix logbooks?
Is Downey ready for tomorrow?
Yes.
Is he solid?
Absolutely.
Do you think we can find Markinson?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
We don't have a discovery obligation. Let's keep this from Ross for 24 hours.
10 foot!
Defense calls, private first class, lock Downey.
Private, would you raise your right hand and place your left hand on this Bible? Do you swear that the testimony you will give in this general court-martial is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Please sit.
Dear Mr. and Mrs. Santiago, I was William's company commander. I knew William vaguely, which is to say I knew his name. In a matter of time, the trial of the 2 men charged with your son's death will be concluded. And 7 men and 2 women who you've never met will try to offer you an explanation as to why William is dead. Most likely, they will offer you many explanations. For my part, I've tried to do what I can to bring the truth to light. I've done so not in the uniform in which I served for 21 years, but in costumes in shadows. I was a defender. Presently, I am being pursued by the Naval Investigative Service, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Central Intelligence Agency, and the military police. And I can't possibly do this anymore. Because the truth is this: your son is dead for only one reason. I wasn't strong enough to stop it. Always, Captain Matthew Andrew Markinson, United States Marine Corps.
You were then taken into custody, brought to the brig, sir.
Private Downey, I have only one more question. Why did you give Private Santiago a code red on the evening of the 6th?
Code red was ordered by the executive officer, Lieutenant Kendrick, sir.
Thank you very much. Your witness.
Private, on the day of 6th July, the switch log has you down at post 39 until 1600. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. It should be. They keep that log pretty tight.
And how far is it from post 39 to Windward Barracks?
It's a ways, ma'am. It's a hike.
About how far by jeep?
15, 20 minutes?
Have you ever had to walk it?
Yes, ma'am. That day. Friday. The pickup private. That's the guy who picks us up and drops us off at our post. Also, because he can get girls in New York. The pickup private had a flat tire right on the 39. We pulled up and planned. Pull out with no spare. We had to double time it back to the barracks, ma'am.
And if it's 10 or 15 minutes by jeep, I'm guessing it must be a good hour by foot. Am I close?
Pickup and I did in 45 minutes flat, ma'am.
Not bad. And you say that the assault on Santiago was the result of an order given by Lieutenant Kendrick at a platoon meeting at 16:20 hours?
Yes, ma'am.
But you just said that you didn't make it back to Windward Barracks until 16:45.
Ma'am?
If you didn't make it back to your barracks until 16:45, then how could you be at a platoon meeting at 16:20?
Well, you see, ma'am, there was a flat tire, you see, and,
Private, did Lieutenant Kendrick ever tell you to give Santiago a code red? Please, the court, I'd like to request a recess in order to confer with my client. Who told you to give Santiago the code red?
Ma'am?
Private Downey has rights. Private Downey has been read his rights, Commander.
Ma'am?
The question will be repeated.
Who told you to give Santiago the code red? Your Honor!
Take your seat.
Did Corporal Dawson tell you to do it? Don't look at him, look at me.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, Private, answer the lieutenant's question.
Yes, Lieutenant. I was given an order by my squad leader, Lance Corporal Harold W. Dawson, United States Marine Corps, and I followed it.
Where do you think he is? As far as Downey was concerned, it was an order from Kendrick. He didn't distinguish. Damn. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it.
Stan and I were just talking, and all we really need to do is to put some witnesses on the stand that can talk about implied orders. Or maybe we put Downey back on the stand, and then we go to Dawson.
Or maybe, if we work at it, we can get Dawson charged with kidnapping the Lindbergh baby.
Are you drunk?
Pretty much, yeah.
I'll put on a pot of coffee. We've got a long night's work ahead of us.
She's gonna make coffee. Wasn't at the meeting. Wasn't even there. That was a pretty important piece of information, don't you think?
It was a setback, but we'll fix it. We'll get to Markinson and we'll fix it.
Markinson is dead. He got it. Full dress uniform. Pulled a nickel-plated pistol from his holster and fired a bullet through his brain. He was at the Beltway Motor Lodge. It is 3 blocks away. Anyway, since we seem to be out of witnesses, I thought I might drink a little.
I still think we can win.
Maybe you should drink a little.
We go to Randolph now. We get a 24-hour continuance.
Why would we do that?
To subpoena Colonel Jessup.
No.
Just listen to me, Vernon.
No, I won't listen to you.
Just hear me out.
I won't hear you out. Passion is compelling, Joe. It's also useless. Because Loudon Downey needed a trial lawyer today.
If you walk now, you have sealed their fate.
Fate was sealed the moment Santiago died.
You have to call Jessup.
I don't have to do shit.
Why did you ask for the transfer order?
Why?
In Cuba, why did you ask for the transfer order? Why did you ask nicely?
Why does it matter?
Why?
Because I wanted the damn transfer order.
Bullshit! You could have gotten that by calling any one of a dozen departments at the Pentagon. You didn't want the transfer order. You wanted to see Jessup's reaction when you asked for it. You had an instinct. It was confirmed by Markinson. Now, damn it, let's put Jessup on the stand and end this thing.
What possible good can come from putting Jessup on the stand?
He told Kendrick to order the code red.
He did? Why didn't you say so? I assume you have proof. No, wait. I forgot. You were sick the day they taught law at law school.
You put him on the stand and you get it from him.
Get it from him. Good. No problem. Colonel Jessup, isn't it true that you ordered a code red, forced a transfer order, coerced the doctor, and fixed the law?
Okay, look, we're all...
I'm sorry. Your time is up. And what do we have for the losers, Judge? Well, for the defendants, we have a lifetime at the exotic Fort Leavenworth, where every day is Valentine's Day for our handsome young Marines, and for Lieutenant Cappy, that's right, it's a court-martial! Yes, Johnny, after falsely accusing a highly decorated Marine officer of conspiracy and perjury, Lieutenant Cappy will enjoy a long and prosperous career at the Rocco Colombo School for Women. Thank you for playing Should We or Should We Not Follow the Advice of the Galactically Stupid!
I'm sorry I lost you your set of steak knives.
Get the fuck out. Sam, stop cleaning up. I said stop cleaning up. You want a drink? No. Sam, is your father proud of you? Don't do this to yourself. Is he very proud of you? Yes. Bet he is. I'll bet he bores the shit out of the neighbors. Guys he works with, aunts and uncles. Sam ain't law review. Sam's got a big case he's working. He's arguing. Making an argument. I think my father would have enjoyed seeing me graduate from law school. I think he would have liked that an awful lot. You know, he spent half his life defending the Constitution of the United States. and the other half trying to convince everyone he wasn't a communist. He died young. And he died tired. Very angry about that, Sam.
He would have been proud of you yesterday. You should have seen yourself thundering away at Kendrick. It was a sight to see. He would have been proud of you yesterday.
What about today?
Today you did the best you could.
We should go talk to Dawson.
I'm gonna miss being in charge of socks and underwear.
What?
I was just making a stupid joke.
Socks and underwear?
Yeah.
In the file. Joe had his contents inventory. Quick! Who knew that Santiago wasn't being transferred off the base? Name the people.
Jessup.
Right?
Kendrick.
Who else?
Markinson.
Santiago.
What?
Willie Santiago knew he wasn't being transferred off the base. Santiago knew. Why, it took me 5 weeks to realize this is beyond me. But given the time, I will figure a way to blame you. Quick, let's go. I need you to prep me on Jessup, and I need Joe to get the continuance.
What the hell are you talking about?
I'll explain in the car.
Look, you need a witness.
Have a witness.
A dead witness.
And in the hands of a lesser attorney, that'd be a problem. Let's go.
Wait a second.
The cover-up is not the case. In order to win, we have to get Jessup to tell the jury that he ordered the code red.
Oh, and you think you can just get him to say it?
I think he wants to say it. I think he is pissed off he's got to hide it from us. I think he wants to say he made a command decision, and that's the end of it. He eats breakfast 80 yards away from 4,000 Cubans who are trained to kill him. No one is going to tell him how to run his unit, least of all a pushy broad, the smart Jew, and the Harvard mouth. I can make him defend. If I can just make him defend himself, he will say he ordered the code red. Let's go.
Look, wait, you would need a window. He has no weakness and he won't let you near him.
He has a weakness.
What?
He thinks he was right. Let's go. Say, Sam, have you ever heard the story of Lieutenant Commander Galloway and Colonel Nathan Jessup?
I believe I have, Danny. It's a story of courage and conviction, is it not?
Right you are. Lieutenant Galloway was investigating a crime. She had a question she wanted the colonel to answer.
Now, this colonel, he's a very intimidating character, or so I've heard.
To some, sure. To some, he is the stuff of which nightmares are made.
But not to Commander Galloway.
No, sir. Because Commander Galloway ain't scared of nothing. She had a question, and she was going to get her answer. She was courageous. She was relentless. She did her job.
What do you want?
I wanted to talk to you about Lance Corporal Dawson and the PSC Donnelly.
Downey.
I don't want to talk to you anymore.
No, I can't accept that. We braved extraordinary elements just to get here. My car died halfway up Main Street. Sam had to run half a mile just to get help. Anyway, the wife and I were thinking of going into court tomorrow and saving our clients' lives. Maybe throwing some homicidal maniacs behind bars to boot. Thought you might like to come along. What do you say?
I can't seem to defend people.
Sorry you feel that way. You're my hero, Joe. From the first day, you were a lawyer. Live with that.
Lieutenant Cappy, are you ready to call your next witness?
Your Honor, I don't suppose it would make any good to make a motion for dismissal at this point?
I'm glad to see you still have your sense of humor.
Defense calls Colonel Nathan Jessup.
Colonel Nathan Jessup is called.
Colonel Jessup, have you been previously sworn, sir?
I have not.
Would you raise your right hand and place your left hand on this Bible? Do you swear that the testimony you will give today in this general court-martial is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Would you state for the record your full name, rank, and current billet, please?
Colonel Nathan Robert Jessup, Commanding Officer, Marine Ground Forces, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
Would you have a seat, please, sir?
Colonel Jessup, when you learned of Santiago's letter to the NIS, you had a meeting with your two senior officers, is that right?
Yes.
Platoon Commander, Lieutenant Jonathan Kendrick, and Company Commander, Captain Matthew Markinson.
Yes.
And at present, Captain Markinson is dead, is that right?
Objection! I'd like to know just what defense counsel is implying.
I'm implying simply that at present, Captain Markinson is not alive.
Surely Colonel Jessup doesn't have to appear in this courtroom to confirm that information.
I wasn't sure if the witness was aware that 2 days ago, Captain Markinson took his own life with a .45 caliber pistol.
The witness is aware, the court is aware, and now the jury is aware. We thank you for bringing this to our attention. Move on, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir. Colonel Jessup, at the time of this meeting, you gave Lieutenant Kendrick an order. Is that right?
I told Kendrick to tell his men Santiago was not to be touched.
And did you give an order to Captain Markinson as well?
I ordered Markinson to have Santiago transferred off the base immediately.
Why?
I felt his life might be in danger once word of the letter got out.
Grave danger?
Is there another kind?
We have here a transfer order that you co-signed with Markinson ordering Santiago to be lifted on a flight leaving Guantanamo at 6 a.m. the next morning. Colonel, was this the first flight off the base?
The 0600 was the first flight off the base.
Colonel, you arrived in Washington early this morning, is that right?
Yes.
I see you're wearing your Class A dress uniform for your appearance in court today.
As are you, Lieutenant.
Did you wear your uniform on the flight?
Please, the court, is this dialogue relevant to anything in particular?
The defense wasn't given the opportunity to depose the witness, Your Honor. We'd ask the court for a little latitude.
A very little latitude.
Colonel?
I wore fatigues on the plane.
And you brought your dress uniform with you?
Yes.
Toothbrush, shaving kit, change of underwear?
Your Honor!
Is the Colonel's underwear a matter of national security?
Get somewhere fast with this, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir. Colonel?
I brought a change of clothes and some personal items.
Thank you. After Dawson and Downey's arrest on the night of the 6th, Santiago's barracks room was closed off and its contents inventoried. 4 pairs of camouflage pants, 3 long-sleeve khaki shirts, 3 short-sleeve khaki shirts, 3 pairs of boots, 4 pairs of green socks, 4 pairs of black socks, 3 olive green t-shirts,
Your
2
Honor,
belts,
is there
1
a
sweater.
question anywhere in our future?
Lieutenant Cappy, I have...
I'm wondering why Santiago wasn't packed. I have here a telephone record of all the calls made off your base in the last 24 hours. After being subpoenaed to Washington, you made 3 telephone calls. I've highlighted those calls in yellow. Do you recognize the numbers?
I called Colonel Fitzhughes in Quantico, Virginia, to let him know that I would be in town. The second call was to Congressman Richmond of the House Armed Services Committee, and the third call was to my sister, Elizabeth.
Why'd you make that call, sir?
I thought she might like to have dinner tonight.
Your Honor.
I'm putting a stop to this now.
Your Honor, this is a telephone record for Gitmo for the night of July 6th, and these are 14 letters that Santiago wrote in 9 months requesting, in fact, begging for a transfer. Upon hearing the news that he was finally getting transferred, Santiago was so excited You know how many people he called? 0. Nobody. Not one call to his parents saying he was finally getting out. Not one call to a friend saying, hey, can you pick me up at the airport? He was asleep in his bed at midnight. And according to you, he was getting on a flight that left in 6 hours, yet everything he owned was folded neatly in a footlocker and hanging neatly in his closet. You left for one day. You packed a bag and made 3 phone calls. Santiago was leaving for the rest of his life. He hadn't packed a thing, and he hadn't called a soul. Can you explain that? Fact is, Santiago wasn't going anywhere. Isn't that right, Colonel?
Object! Your Honor, it is obvious that Lieutenant Caffey's intention this morning is to smear a high-ranking Marine officer in the desperate hope that the mere appearance of impropriety will win him points with the jury. It is my recommendation, sir, that the lieutenant be reprimanded for his conduct and that the witness be excused with the court's deepest apologies.
Overruled.
Your Honor!
Your objection is noted.
Colonel? Is this funny, sir?
No, it's not. It's tragic.
Do you have an answer?
Absolutely. My answer is, I don't have the first damn clue. Maybe he was an early riser and he liked to pack in the morning. And maybe he didn't have any friends. I'm an educated man, but I'm afraid I cannot speak intelligently about the travel habits of William Santiago. What I do know is he was set to leave the base at 0600. Now, are these really the questions that I've been called here to answer? Phone calls and footlockers. Please tell me you have something more, Lieutenant. 2 Marines are on trial for their lives. Please tell me their lawyer hasn't pinned their hopes to a phone bill. Do you have any other questions for me, Counselor?
Lieutenant Caffey? Lieutenant, do you have anything further for this witness?
Thanks, Danny. I love Washington.
Excuse me, I didn't dismiss you.
I beg your pardon?
I'm not through with my examination. I didn't dismiss you. Sit down.
Colonel.
What's that?
I want that man to address me as Colonel or Sir. I believe I've earned it.
Defense counsel will address the witness as Colonel or Sir.
I don't know what the hell kind of outfit you think you're running here.
The witness will address the court as Judge or Your Honor. I'm quite certain I've earned it. Now take your seat, Colonel.
What would you like to discuss now? My favorite color?
Colonel Jessup, the 6 a.m. flight, it was the first flight off the base?
Yes.
There wasn't a flight that left 7 hours earlier and landed at Andrews Air Force Base at 2 a.m.?
Lieutenant, haven't we covered this?
Your Honor, in just a moment, the defense will call Airman Cecil O'Malley and Airman Anthony Perez to the stand. Airman O'Malley and Perez worked the ground crew at Andrews the morning of the 7th.
Your Honor, these men weren't on the list. Rebuttal witnesses, Your Honor, called specifically to refute testimony offered under direct examination.
I'll allow the witnesses.
Colonel, a moment ago...
Check the tower logs, for Christ's sake.
Oh, we'll get to the airmen in just a minute. Colonel, a moment ago, you said you gave an order to Lieutenant Kendrick to tell his men not to touch Santiago.
That's right.
And Kendrick was clear on what you wanted.
Crystal.
Any chance he ignored the order?
Ignored the order.
Any chance he forgot about it?
No.
Any chance he left your office and said, you know what? The old man is wrong.
No.
Any chance when Kendrick got in front of the men and told them not to touch Santiago? Any chance they ignored him?
Have you ever served in an infantry unit, son?
No, sir.
Ever served in a forward area?
No, sir.
Ever put your life in another man's hands, asked him to put his life in yours?
No, sir.
We follow orders, son. We follow orders or people die. It's that simple. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Are we clear?
Crystal. Colonel Jessup, I have just one more question before we call Airman O'Malley to the stand. If you gave an order for Santiago not to be touched, then why was it necessary to have him transferred off the base?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
If you gave an order for Santiago not to be touched, then why was it necessary?
Private Santiago was being transferred because he was a substandard Marine.
That's not what you said. You said he was being transferred because he was in grave danger.
Yes, that's correct.
You said he was in danger. I said grave danger.
I recall that.
I could have the court reporter.
I know what I said! I don't need it read back to me like a damn fool.
And why the 2 orders? Colonel? Why did you give 2 orders?
Sometimes men take matters into their own hands.
No, sir. You made it clear just a moment ago that your men never take matters into their own hands. Your men follow orders or people die. So Santiago shouldn't have been in any danger, should he, Colonel? It's a paradox, isn't it? Paradox is a bastard.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask for a recess.
I'd like an answer to the question, Judge.
That makes 2 of us.
If you gave Lieutenant Kendrick an order to tell his men not to touch Santiago, why did he have to be transferred? Colonel? Lieutenant Kendrick ordered the code red because that's exactly what you told Kendrick to do.
Objection!
When it went bad, you cut these guys loose.
Your Honor!
And Marcus designed a court transfer order. You coerced the doctor.
That's your last
You fixed the logbook.
Damn it,
I'll ask you for the 4th time. I'm entitled to them.
You want answers?
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth. Because the truth is that we live in a world that has walls. Those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's going to do it? You? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? I have a greater responsibility than you could possibly fathom. You weep for Santiago and you curse the Marines. You have that luxury. The luxury of the blind. The luxury of not knowing what I know. That Santiago's death, while tragic, probably saved lives. And my existence, while grotesque and incomprehensible to you, saves lives. You can't handle it because deep down, in places that you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. We use words like honor, code, loyalty. We use these words as the backbone to a life spent defending something. You use them as a punchline. I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man who rises and sleeps under the blanket of the very freedom that I provide and then questions the manner in which I provide it. I prefer you just said thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you're entitled to.
You ordered the code red.
I did the job that you sent me to do.
You ordered the code red.
Goddamn right I did!
Please, the court, I suggest the members be dismissed so we can move to an immediate Article 39A session. The witness has rights. Jan?
I concur.
The Sergeant at Arms will take the members to an anteroom where they'll await further instructions.
What the hell is going on, Captain? What the hell's going on? Familiar with Article 39A? I did my job, and I do it again. Getting on a plane and going back to my base. Guard the prisoner. What?
MPs, guard the prisoner.
Oh, I order a code red and people are going to pieces like the fucking ladies' auxiliary.
Colonel Jessup, you have the right to remain silent. Any statement you do make can be used against you in a trial by court-martial or other judicial or administrative proceeding. You have the right to consult a lawyer.
I'm being charged with a crime.
This lawyer may be
that's what this is.
lawyer retained at no cost to the United
This is
States.
funny, you know that?
Or a military lawyer appointed.
I'm gonna tear the eyes right out of your head and piss in your dead skull. Fuck with the wrong Marine.
Colonel Jessup, do you understand these rights as I have read them to you?
You fucking people. You have no idea how to defend a nation. All you did was weaken a country tonight, Cappy. That's all you did. Give yourself a pat on the back. You put people in danger tonight. Sweet dreams, son.
Don't call me son. I'm a lawyer with an
officer in the United States Navy. You're under arrest, you son of a bitch. The witness is excused.
On the charge of murder in the second degree, the members find the defendants not guilty. On the charge of conspiracy to commit murder, the members find the defendants not guilty. On the charge of conduct unbecoming a United States Marine, the members find the defendants guilty as charged. The court hereby sentences the defendants to time served in the brig up to this point and are ordered to be dishonorably discharged from the United States Marines. This court-martial is adjourned.
Stand hot!
No! Harold, I'm sorry.
I don't understand.
It's not as bad as it seems.
Colonel Jessup ordered the code red.
Yes, but...
Colonel Jessup ordered the code red. What did we do wrong?
Listen.
What did we do wrong?
Ask Dawson, who did nothing wrong. A jury just said that your conduct was unbecoming a United States Marine. What does that mean? You're the lawyer. You're the Marine. Not anymore.
Hal, I don't understand. What does this mean?
Look.
What does this mean, Hal?
It means we beat the shit out of the wrong guy.
I'm serious. What does it mean?
You're gonna have to stop asking that.
Kathy, I gotta take these guys down at the personnel office table.
Harold! Sir! You don't need to wear a patch on your arm to have honor.
And hut! There's an officer on deck. Sir, permission to be dismissed.
You're dismissed.
Aaron Jessup, O'Malley, and Anthony Perez. What are they, second base and shortstop for the Toledo Mudhens?
I wouldn't lie to the court, Jen. Airman O'Malley and Perez worked the ground crew the night of the 7th.
And they saw the plane land.
Never said that.
Good work.
People had a case, Jan.
I'll see you around the campus. I've got to go arrest Kendrick.
Tell him I said hi.
How about a celebration? I'm by. Sam?
Maybe later. I'm gonna go and talk to my daughter. I mean, she's gotta be bilingual by now.
What's up next for you?
Staff Sergeant Hector Baines went to the movies on company time. You?
Oh, you know, the usual.
Just annoying people.
Yeah. So how about it? You want to get that drink?
Catch up with you later. I'm gonna get started on Hector Baines. Stand my post for a while.
You are like 7 of the strangest men I've ever met.
Lift your head and lift it high. Daniel Caffey's passing by.
Daniel Caffey's passing by.